It's a pleasant good morning once again, and welcome to the start of another week with our Good Morning show. Good morning, Sierra Leone, coming to you live from the SLBC in Freetown. My name is Kojo Kwafo. Be reminded that this is a show that starts today with analysis and a different view on news and current events. Our quote of the day is from an American composer, an academic and writer, and it says, "All things may change, but we start and end with family." And that does show how important family is. Now, in the program this morning, the All People's Party, as in a press release, said that the leadership and members of the party received with great surprise the announcement from President Bill that his government will go ahead with a midterm census. And that's mostly what we're going to be talking about this morning. But first, let's take our coronavirus preventive message.
You see where them people here wear the mask then fine? Well, now so you say for wear your mask. Cover your nose and you much all time where you dey near other person.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's Good Morning Sierra Leone with me, Kojo Kwafo. In the studio, I have Mohammed Pope Kamara. He's the Deputy Publicity Secretary of the All People's Congress Party. We have Victor King, Acting Chairman for the CDP, that's the Citizens Democratic Party, and also is Auditor too at APA, All Political Parties Association. And we also have Samuel Ansumana, is Director of Communications at Statistics Sierra Leone. Now, the All People's Congress Party in a press release said that leadership and members of the party received with great surprise the announcement from President Bill that the government will go ahead with a midterm census. The release further states that despite the APC party having exhausted all possible remedies aimed at prevailing on President Bill and his government to cancel the proposed midterm census, the government has failed to adhere. In that regard, the APC party is called on its membership and supporters countrywide not to participate in the census. On the issue, as I said, we have Mohammed Pope Kamara, Deputy Publicity Secretary of the All People's Congress. We have Victor King, who is Acting Chairman of Citizens Democratic Party and also is Auditor to at APA, and Samuel Ansumana, Director of Communications Statistics. They all lined up here this morning to help us with this discussion. All right, let's go to you, Pope, because the letter or concern initially came from the All People's Congress Party about the midterm census. So my first question is, why don't you want the government to go ahead with the midterm census?
The foundation, the ideology of the APC is constructive nationalism, and it came about based on the fact that we resonate our activities with the ordinary man. We advocate for the ordinary man, and we speak for the voiceless. We are the voice to the voiceless, and we are defenders for the defenseless. And if that is so, since these governments came into governance ceaselessly and countlessly, they have eroded and they have raped institutions representing that which we refer to as democracy, human rights, rule of law. And because of all those reasons, we've raised numerous concerns. We've raised alarms. We've questioned certain things that this government intend doing. And as a government, it is very clear that in our opposition, we've supported policies that are geared towards the upholding of democracy. We've supported policies through our parliamentarians that are geared towards the development and the progress of the country. We've supported policies that are geared towards sanity, cohesion, and security of the state. And that which does not represent good governance, we've been opposing. And that's exactly what we will continue to do. On the issue of this particular midterm census, we consider it as an alien name, an alien word in the constitution of this country. We've never come across the word midterm census. We've gone through that which we refer to as the act that gives statistics the power. We found it difficult. But one thing we want to make very clear is the fact that it's not that APC is against census. No. we are not against the census. We are just against that which we call an illegal census. And what makes it illegal? Yeah, what makes it illegal in our view is based on the fact that when the document itself was not properly laid. And if you go to the Constitution, or if you go to the act that gives power to either statistics or the president, it does not stop them from calling for census, but it stops them from calling for that which we call an illegal census, because this particular census is ill-advised, because it lacks every credibility that we see in a very good census. International partners have withdrawn their funding from this particular census. Civil societies have voted against this particular census. Majority of political parties have voted against this particular census. And even the EU have advised against this particular census, that according to popular calls and according to popular demand, this particular census is unprecedented. It has no base, and it does not look beneficial to the people of Sierra Leone. Why do you want to force the census? And that is exactly why, for the fact that the government is pushing for it, we also have the democratic right to tell our people that we are not against the census, but we are against illegality. And that is exactly why we are stopping our people from participating, and we are calling on them not to be counted, because the process is flawed, the process is undemocratic, the process is illegal, and it does not have the requisite substance of a census. If we continue with this census, it's going to be a waste of national resources. And I think if you follow the EU report, they have recommended that NCRA should publish the list for verification, so that before we go into voter registration. And if that is so, we should and must go by what we refer to as best practice for the sustenance of peace and democracy in this country. But any attempt to erode that will be faced with democratic resistance from different political parties in opposition.
You've said that, you keep saying that the census is illegal. You said that the document was not properly laid in Parliament, but I'm still trying to find out, where does the illegality really lie? You haven't explained that properly to me.
In the first place, the midterm census is not constitutional. I have not seen it in any phase, in any page of the Constitution. You understand? Or in any act. I have not seen it. The word midterm. And two, if it is midterm, except otherwise, if you are counting from 1 to 10, the middle must be 5. You understand? But if after 6 years you call it midterm census, then I would coin it as an end of term census. I think what we are saying, the government should now concentrate. 2022, we are having local elections. Let the government give us a date for the local elections. Let the government tell us how prepared are they for the local council elections. 2023, we are calling to elections. Why are they pushing for why the rush? Why are they so desperate? What is their fear? That they should not, according to international best practice, let us do it just as the way we used to do it 10 years. From 1911, we've seen the records of the census, 2004, 2015. If we are going to have another census, it should be 2025. But the question is, why the rush?
All right, let's find out from Ansumana why they've decided to go ahead with this census. Ansumana, you've had all that Mohamed Pope Kamara has said. They don't want you to go ahead with this census. They think that it is illegal. They think that even if it's 5 years, because the census is supposed to take place every 10 years, but you call it, it's a midterm census, which means that it should be 5 years in between. But he's saying that it's now 6 years, so it's not even a midterm census. Why is the census important, and why is Statistics Sierra Leone Statistics want to go ahead with it?
Thank you very much. Let me establish the basis of the census. The simple reason why we are conducting this census is because we cannot account for population figures, disaggregated population figures for 33 localities. What does that mean? We cannot be able to provide population figures for villages individually. Instead, we'll give you the population figures for all the villages combined.
What happened to the records from the last census that was conducted in 2015, was it?
Yes, very well. So in 2015, we had issues with this aggregation of the localities, all right? Now, during the conduct of the census in 2015, when they did the cartography, when they went about mapping the country and doing a quick count of the households, they named or they coded places in the cartography as names. For example, if you're staying at Wilberforce, if it is Wilberforce, for example, you put in the cartography, you put Wilberforce. It is Kleintown, you put Kleintown, you put Kleintown. If it is Hastings, you put Hastings. If it is Waterloo, you put Waterloo. Now, that was for the cartography. When it came to the census, they now changed and they placed those names with codes. So Wilberforce, you give it 01. Regent, you give it 02. Gloucester, you give it 03. All right. So what you enter in the cartography, you use names. In the main enumeration, you use codes. Now matching the two, 01 there and Wilberforce there, okay, became a problem. So we had lots of mismatches that happened. Okay, but those were technical issues that occurred, technical problems. So fast forward to 2018, when Professor Osman Sanko took over, we had situations where partners were...
Just 1 minute, because these records that you're talking about, cartography, is that what you call it?
Yeah, cartography.
And the other one, you said the one they put in Wilberforce, and the other one they put it 01, the code for Wilberforce. Yeah. Is that the reason why you're conducting the census?
That's the primary reason. These were anomalies that occurred to it.
So it has nothing to do with the people that you sent out not being able to count people, you know, the total number of people that reside in the community, but that for record's sake, there's a mismatch in the name as against the code.
So people, or the coverage, basically talking about the coverage, that people being able to reach every nook and cranny of the country, it could be a reason, but not an overarching reason, right? The overarching reason here is because we could not account for populations at locality levels, okay? So let me explain further. So what basically happens is, with the 2015 census, we have, I need to also demystify this for people to understand. We have 3 types of localities. We have type 1, wherein you have a certain town or village that is exactly 80 to 120 households, all right? An enumeration area. So an enumeration area is where you count 80 households. So sooner you reach the 80 household threshold, that is one enumeration area that is enough for one person that is counting to go and count. Okay. All right? That is type 1. Type 2 is where you have the big towns and cities. Okay? Now, in Freetown, where we seated there at New England, if you start counting to Drozac, from here where we are seated, before you reach Drozac Junction, you would have counted more than 200 households. Right? So that is typical of the big cities. You are in one city, you have multiple, you can get multiple enumeration areas. Type 3 is where you cannot have one village giving you 80 households. All right? You have to assemble or conglomerate several villages. All right? You bring together this village that is 10 households, bring that which is 5 households, which is 20, which is 15, and then you get one enumeration. So you have to add them up to get one enumeration area. So with that, the problem is we cannot tell you the population of the specific villages. Instead, we'll give you the assembled population of all of the villages combined as a result of the reasons, the errors which I have highlighted already, which occurred in 2015. So fast forward to 2018, when Professor Sanko took over, he noticed these issues. Partners were writing to us, we cannot provide data, all right, for it. So we called the consultant, which who actually worked on the 2015 census. The consultant came, spent 2 months in the country. His recommendation was there is no way in which you can do this and you can actually fix this, because we thought this was something we can fix at the office.
Because you can just go back to the record.
Exactly. This is what we thought.
Village, they counted 200 people there.
Yes.
But well, let's say they counted 20 people there. But they had to combine that with another village to make it 40. And then another to make it 80. So at least you have a record for the Nyandao village.
So in this case, we don't have a record for Nyandao village. We have a record for Nyandao village and all of the villages combined. So we cannot specifically.
So you actually have to go back to the
field. We cannot pinpoint Nyandao in all of the mix. Okay. So the consultant really worked on it, try to see how we can actually, disaggregate the population by villages and stuff like that. At the end of the day, the recommendation was half tried. There's no way in which we could do this. We have to go to the field. That is the only way. Okay. So we now looked at the issue after the consultants had recommended, and we presented it to partners. Now, okay, this is what has happened, and this is what the consultants recommended. So we had a partner in the World Bank who said, okay, so what do you want to do? We said, well, we want to conduct a meetup. They said, okay, if you want to conduct a meetup, we have funding. We can fund you to do that. Okay, so that's how the idea of a meetup came about from 2018. All right, we proposed it. We had to convince the then Minister of Planning, Nabila Chinis, all right, that this was something which we have to do because we cannot provide data for people at locality level. Okay, then it took some convincing also to cabinet. We had to convince them. It took us months to convince cabinet to actually embark on conducting the midterm census. Okay, so it was a real exhausting process to first of all get the approval, to get the buying of the government, because unlike other censuses where it's government that will tell you to do it when it is time, this one we proposed it, so we had to do all of the convincing. It is not the government that told us do this census, do that or whatsoever. We had to do it. Okay, so basically that's the basis of the census. All right, that's the basis of the census. So now talking about constitutionality, because that is one thing which I see, my brother has spoken about, and I think I have to also correct that.
They outrightly said that it's with the midterm census is illegal.
It's unconstitutional. So let me first of all go to the Constitution of Sierra Leone. The only place that talks about the Constitution of that talks about census in the entire Constitution of Sierra Leone are two places. So I'll read all two for you, and you'll get to tell me if there is anything that has got to do with a time that is actually specified there. So chapter 4 section 38 subsection 7 of the 1991 Constitution of Sierra Leone says, for the purpose of this section, the number of inhabitants of Sierra Leone shall be ascertained by reference to the latest census of the population of Sierra Leone held in pursuance of an act of parliament, or if no census has been so held, by reference to any available information which in the opinion of the Electoral Commission best indicates the number of those inhabitants. All right, that is the first area that talks about the census in Sierra Leone. The next area in the Constitution that talks about the census is section 38, which says, provided that the Commission may at any time carry out such a review and alter the constituencies in accordance with the provision of this section to such extent as it considers necessary in consequence of any alteration in the number of members of Parliament referred to in paragraph B of section 1 of section 74 by reason of the holding of a census of the population of Sierra Leone in pursuance of an act of parliament. So that's the only two areas in the entire Constitution of Sierra Leone that talks about census. Okay, and it does not indicate time. But let me go further. And look at the acts that establish the conduct of a census in Sierra Leone. Okay, let's get this done once and for all. Part 2, Section 2 of the Census Act of 2002 says, the President may from time to time, on the advice of the Minister, by order made by statutory instrument, direct census to be taken of the population of Sierra Leone. It's clear. From time to time, the President may on the advice of the Minister, the President may order for a census to be conducted. Section 10, Subsection 2 of the Statistics Act of 2002 says, without prejudice to the generality of subsection 1, it shall be the responsibility of Statistics Sierra Leone to A, supervise and manage a national population census to be conducted every 10 years, but such shorter intervals as may be determined by the President. So, every 10 years, or at such shorter intervals as may be determined by the president. So it's clear. So to say the midterm, as per what my brother said, because the name is midterm, it is nowhere in the constitution. There is nowhere in any constitution in the world where they would indicate that a census is a midterm or a full term. By the way, let me also make it clear to my brother. We have two types of censuses, right? We have a midterm census and we have a full-term census. So let me just define them for my brother. A full or primary census is usually done every 10 years. Most times it's what happens in Africa. That's what occurs in Africa. All right? It's a total count of the population that collects both socioeconomic and demographic indicators. A midterm census is a census that is conducted in between two primary censuses, and most times collect only limited socioeconomic and demographic indicators. All right? So he's saying that it's not in the constitution because he's not a statistician. Statisticians know that we have a full-term census and we have mid-term census. Okay. In fact, South Africa does their census they do midterm regularly every 5 years. Zimbabwe did their midterm in 2017. Okay. So you have countries of the world that are actually embarking on midterm censuses. The advanced countries of the world are doing it. But for Africa, because censuses are very huge capital intensive undertakings, most countries in Africa just choose to do it every 10 years. Okay. All right. So that's the basis for the conduct of this census that we are now actually talking about. So quickly, Kojo, a few things that I'll just want to say. My brother spoke about the alien name. He says it is illegal in their view. Midterm, okay, he also mentioned that midterm should be the media. All right. So I'll also correct my brother because he's not a statistician. In statistics, you have the plus or minus metrics. All right. So it was 2020 that President proclaimed the conduct of the census. It should have occurred in December 2020. It didn't occur because of the impacts of the coronavirus. The timeless didn't come in time. So now, in statistics, you have a plus or minus metrics. Okay. So plus or minus 10 years, plus or minus 6 months, plus or minus 8 months, plus or minus 1 year. So we're still within the time frame of midterm. We should have even done it if we even wanted to do it in 2019. It would still have been midterm because it would have been plus or minus, but on the downward metrics, the downward aspect. Okay, not the upward. So upward, downward, plus or minus, it works. That is what statistics actually prescribes. The
statisticians, you guys are very good at the pluses and the minuses. Let's come to Victor King. Yeah. Victor, we already know your position on this issue. Yeah. Except you've changed it over the weekend. No. Okay, still the same. So Victor's position, which you're going to let us know, I believe, is that you're in support of the midterm or media, as Pope wants us to call it. Is it census?
All right. For us, like you rightly said, Kojo, and we have make a position very, very, very clear. And my own point here is this, and I normally take it far back 2015, because I believe HAPA is a platform where political parties have the right to come and bring their suggestion inputs with different ideology. But at some point we have our different opinions. But on the way, we always meet at a point and have a decision, you understand. I remember 2015, Madam Augusta was the president, and after it went, in fact before the census, we bring a lot of issues and then we presented to statistics, but nothing was done. So after which
issues, what for the issues? What were the
issues? A lot of issues. In fact, the 2015 census, even before the census, we met with the then Statistician General, we bring things of that. So even we even bring point that even the recruitment process was faulty at that point. But they say no, it's not about APC or SLP and all those things. They are their own institution. Basically, they did not put color when they want to recruit and all those. kind of thing. So we hold on, we make our position very clear. After the census, after they publish their results, we also come back again, we go right down the country, all the 14 districts, and we come up with another issues that we think that there is some problem in the census. I think you should correct some of these things.
Just highlight what were some of these problems.
Some of the problem is this. During the 2015 census, like I said this morning in the morning coffee, some of the problem, for example, we went to the north, and you have the silver line areas, places where it's hard to reach areas, and then some of the enumerators said that they have to take canoes, boats, and all those things to do there. And so some of them said they are afraid for their lives if anything happened to them. So, and some of them lack even they did not even have the correct gadget to take the process. You understand? So we even went to the district office. We spoke with the district census officer. He gave us his own challenge and all those things. We went to Kailan, we went to Kono, all those places. Then we meet with people. People said, "Hey, me not come to me," all that kind, all this kind of stuff. So we put it together. After all the whole process, it's about 2 weeks process. And when we came back, we held a press conference. We bring our position to the current president at that time, and then they told us that we'll get back to it. From then, no one get back to it. So for us, we are very much happy. Very much happy. We think the census is timely, and we are going to support it, and we are asking our member nationwide, let them support the process. The issue about legality with the APC, for me, I think I'm not a lawyer, but I've gone through the Constitution, I've gone through the Act, and I've read it, and it's that the president has rights. He has right to come. He has right to ask for census. So there is no one for APC to just tell people don't allow to be counted. And at some point, even this morning, I told my brother that it seems that you're asking for civil disobedience, which is wrong. You understand? I think you have, for example, he said during the NTRA, he said they asked the member not to register, but after consultation, the Secretary General go back to the media and said, go out and register. I think you should use the same avenue. There is nothing wrong with this. The president has stated clearly that there is nothing there like after the census there will be this, there will be that. Everything is stated there. It's very, very, very clear. The A, B, and C of our press release, you will see that there is nothing about whether they are going to have a new this or new that, because that is the fear of some people. You understand? So our position is very clear. It is timely, and we will support the process, and we are encouraging all our members to take part in this census.
Right. We're going for a short break, but when we come back, we'll try to see whether our man Mohamed Pope Kamara would have learned something from a guy from Statistics Sierra Leone, and whether he has a different view of the whole midterm census issue. Stay with us.
Vimto's unique recipe has been refreshing Sierra Leoneans for over 30 years. Only Vimto has the secret blend of fruits, herbs and spices that has tasted great since 1908. Don't be fooled by inferior imitations. Vimto. Insist on the original.
As a mother of the house, whenever I want to prepare palm soup, there's no need pounding palm fruit. All I need is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. My soup is done, and its preparation, it is not difficult at all. Nkulenu palm soup base, it's easily done with no difficulties. Just take few ladles and your soup is done. And its flavor, it's amazing. This is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. And this is Nkulenu's Ghana's original spiced palm soup base. Iron fruits and turkey berries are naturally added.
Also available brown gold natural cocoa powder, sunny gold brown sugar, meat fufu flour, shito, pisa, and moringa. All available at Nyami Ado Enterprise, 1 Lower Waterloo Street, Freetown.
Nkulenu palm soup base.
Ghanaian original taste.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's Good Morning Sierra Leone on the SLBC with me, Kojo Kwafo. In the studio is Mohamed Pukamara, and he's the Deputy Publicity Secretary of the All People's Congress Party. Victor King is here too from APA and also the Citizens Democratic Party. And we have Samuel Ansumana, who's Director of Communication Statistics, Sierra Leone. We're talking about the midterm census that the government is going to conduct or wants to conduct. They call it the People's Census. However, the All People's Congress opposition party are saying that it's not necessary, it's not called for, it is illegal, it was not properly laid in Parliament, and so on and so forth. Mr. Ansumana here has responded to some of those claims made by Mr. Pope. And Mr. Pope, I don't know if all the things that Mr. Samuel Ansumana has said, you agree with them, or you still think that
what he has done is he has made matters worse.
Has he?
Yes, you understand. That's exactly what he's doing. Well, I don't want to forget the statement made by Mr. King from CDP. I want to start with him. I think what he has just highlighted, I've just given credence to what the APC stands for.
Okay.
We believe in what we refer to as constructive dialogue. When, out of arrogance, the Director General of NCRA made the proclamation that in this country they are going to use the data that they are going to register people for NEC registration, voter registration. You know, we dialogued with them. We did. And when we agreed, we saw that indeed we've agreed based on constitutionality, based on democratic principles and dictates. We then summon our people again so that let them do what is good for the country, because NCRA is not for voter registration. So if they say it was for voter education, we argued it with them, we dialogued with them. And that was the same process we did with statistics. We dialogued with them. But they want to present themselves as the stubborn fact that they will not heed. They are going with what they want, they are going to dictate it. If you listen to Mr. Ansumana, he said they proposed it. So they are guiding the government into rigging, into manipulations. Mr. Ansumana are now guiding because we've politicized our institutions in this country. Let me go to some of the things he highlighted. He read the Constitution. They said there is no place in the Constitution where there was time, where there is time, but where it is time bounded. I agree. But there is no space in that same constitutional review that he just read that comes within a meter. No space. In that same constitution that he just read. No space. But it decided that let me go to the act so that I will bring the word meter. That's what he did. So he went to the act skillfully, because what we've done is we've placed politicians into the institutions and now they want to play the meter role. But the people can now underscore the way and manner at which the government is manipulating the minds of the people, of the citizens. But whilst he was reading also this particular constitution, his act, he made mention of the two types of censuses, but he never made mention of the kind of censuses that we are using in Sierra Leone. And what we know is the 10 years. And whilst he was reading from each document, he made mention of the 10 years. In short, it was very clear that our position, our reconciliation with them at the genesis of this particular discussion was positive. We were represented. And we made our position very clear that this particular census you are calling for is uneconomical. It's a waste of national resources. It has no base. If you are saying our census 2000 and the census of 2015 was flawed, but it was accredited and World Bank never withdrew their funds. And now World Bank have reduced their funds. The European report was very clear by stating that from the observation and from the recommendations we've got from the majority of civil societies, from the majority of political parties in this country, this particular census is unprecedented. and uncalled for, uneconomical, ill-motivated, ill-advised.
So what is where is the ill motivation behind this?
The ill motivation is this. We were downstairs when Mr. Shubana and Mr. King were saying they are not aware of the ill motivations. I agree with them, because that is exactly what they say. But in reality, we know they know what is behind the motivation. That is, one, they want to create 3 more districts according to our intelligence.
Okay.
One is Panguma, 2 is Wegeta, and another one is Bandajuma, plus 12 constituencies. But if you ask either Mr. King or Mr. Ansumana, they will tell you they are not, and besides their institutions are not responsible for that. We understand the syndicate that is running within the institutions. Say, just do your own part and leave the rest with us.
So if they create these 3 constituencies as you are claiming...
It is illegal.
As you are claiming.
Yes, it is illegal. It is illegal because if they know what they are doing is genuine and they want to check the population of the country and they want to ascribe development, as they are saying, let us do it using the right framework. And let us tell them, like I said, we are not against census. We are in favor of census. We want censuses in this country because we need to map out how we distribute our wealth, how we distribute our development, how we distribute everything. But what we are against is an illegal census. And this particular census is illegal. That is exactly why we will continue to tell our people, make sure you are not counted. Don't present yourself to be counted. Don't allow yourself to be counted.
Okay. let's go to Mr. Asumana. I don't want this to seem like a platform where we can call on people to not participate in the census of the government.
No, but it is in our press release, so we have to continue. That's exactly why we are here, to express why we refuse or we are asking our people not to participate.
Do that mildly.
And that's exactly what we're doing.
All right. So, Mr. Asumana, one of the reasons one of your people told us in this medium the other day that you conduct the census is because you want to assist government with the necessary information that they need to conduct their development planning, okay, in the areas of education more so, and you haven't mentioned anything about that.
Yeah, so the census is being conducted, apart from just the fact that we want to correct the anomalies of 2015. It will also help in the medium-term national development plan, because the clusters, the 7 clusters of the medium-term national development plan actually need data, all right, to guide the planning, all right, of that particular medium-term national development plan. So we expect, apart from just that, we also expect credible population and housing data for Sierra Leone. We want to monitor the prioritized sustainable development goals, and also we want to increase the trust that people have in the National Statistical Office, the NSO statistics area. Okay, so all of those are things we are doing, to ensure that we pull off. We've been doing lots of things behind the scenes to ensure we pull off a very credible census. But let me just speak to some few things, if you could permit me.
And you're going to speak to those things, but one of the questions we were discussing when we went on the break is why didn't you just conduct the census for the type 3 localities instead of doing it for the entire country? Maybe that would have cut down the cost as well.
All right, okay. Thank you very much. Brilliant question. So if we had a situation where, like for example, this is my palm now, right? We have a situation where it is just one area of the country where we have that problem, then it would have been easier for us to do. But the issues with the type 2 localities are scattered all over the country, right? So there will be an area here, and then you have to move to the other area, then you have to jump that other place. If we have a situation where there is funding, and a partner said, we'll give you the funding, why not do a census? Okay, so we proposed, as I mentioned earlier, we proposed this census to be conducted. It was not imposed upon us or superimposed upon us to conduct.
And now, Mr. Pope is accusing you of guiding the government towards rigging.
Okay, so politicians normally, their dictions, what they say, what they do, is characterized by political insinuations and innuendos. We hear our brother talks. You could tell that he's talking from a political perspective. I'm not a politician, all right? I'm not a politician, he is a politician. So I understand his point of view. But the point that I'm trying to make is, and we have to understand this, we are conducting the census because we want to correct the issues that we had with the 2015 census, okay? It's important that as a country, we actually understand the fact that this is critical for the development of the country. Now, even the fact that, people are calling on other people not to participate is something which, in the laws of Sierra Leone, or under the Census Act of 2002, it is something which is, you can be convicted for. Let me read the relevant sections, all right? I'll read the relevant sections verbatim, okay? We have section 8 of the Census Act of 2002, So I'm reading this because I'm not really going to, specify it based on what APC has said, all right? I'm just going to generalize it for the general populace, for everybody that is in Sierra Leone.
To intimidate the people.
All right, I'm not intimidating people. Okay. I'm far from intimidating people. I'm just saying what the law prescribes. All right. The Census Act of 2002 says, and I read section 8: any person holding a post of an enumerator or above, who produces an identification card duly signed by the chief census officer and who is employed in the execution of this act, shall have the authority to ask of any person whom they have reasonable cause to believe to be able to afford the information desired, all such questions as may be necessary for obtaining any particular required for the purpose of this act, and every person refusing to answer or whom it gives a false answer so any such question shall be, for such refusal or false answer, be liable on summary conviction to a fine. Section 15 goes further to say, any person who hinders or obstructs the chief census officer or any of the persons employed in the execution of this act, in the lawful performance of any duties or in the lawful exercise of any power imposed or conferred upon him by or under this act, shall be guilty of an offense and shall be liable on some conviction to a fine. So we have laws.
So if the APC party is telling its supporters and members not to take part in the census, it means that you might, or the courts might impose a fine on them.
Yes, so we do not want to toe that. We really do not want to start, parading that line. That is not what we really want to do as things stand right now. We know Sierra Leoneans are very peaceful people. We know this census people will come out and be counted. We know they will allow our people to go into their houses and be counted. So we're still pleading with Sierra Leoneans, all right? Because if you are not counted, let me tell you the implications. Your area will be undercounted. That is what it means. If some sections or some areas or some villages decide not to be counted, first things first, we would have to underreport the population of those areas because it
won't make sense.
Yes,
because
so we'll underreport the population of those areas. That is one. Secondly, development that comes will not go to those areas because when the Ministry of Planning is doing, when the Ministry of Finance rather is doing planning, allocation of resources, the first consideration is population. They ask us for the population. So if they want to do development interventions, if international partners come, donors come, they want to do planning, all right, for any area, they'll ask first and foremost for the population before going into the other socioeconomic and demographic indicators, all right? They look at population first. So if the place is underpopulated, they don't consider it first. They look at the places that are really populated first. That is another thing. Secondly, we also have to consider that if your place is underpopulated or is reported as being underpopulated, then it will be underplanned. All right, that is what it means. Okay, so there are very diverse implications for people not being counted. So what we are saying is, the people of Sierra Leone, consider your towns, consider your villages, consider development in your places, and be counted for better planning.
Be counted for better planning. Now, Mr. King. You are the one person that said that the 2015 census that statistics conducted when the APC was in governance was flawed. There were a lot of irregularities. But here we have Mr. Pope, who is saying that the census was accredited and everybody was happy with it by then. And so how comes now you APA are coming up and saying that, well, we reported that this happened, that happened. If the APC, let's say, come into governance in 20 whatever, does that mean that you're going to toe the line of whatever statistics Sierra would be saying because you want to save face as well?
No, you can't see that. Yesterday I was here at Public Square, and you clearly heard what Ali Conte said, that yes, some of the recommendation that we made 2015 was taken on board. Unfortunately for us, at that time the government did not call us, and no one talked to us after that. And even the statistics that was responsible for that census, that management, they did not call us again. So for us, we're happy that the president has called for the midterm census. The only problem here, I think, just like what my friend said, Mohammed, is the name midterm census. I think that because he said it's an alien name for us, I don't think that is an alien name, because if you do some research, developed countries, then you can see they have different names different names how they call them their own census. For us here, the whole problem, Kojo, is that APC is G3 because they think that maybe just like what Mohammed is saying, that after the census there will be new constituency or new district. For us, we don't know whether that is going to happen, but I believe after statistics have conducted the census, the data, they have made the data available public. It's left to whosoever wants to use the data. There are a lot of other government institutions, and we have the National Disaster Agency, you have NEC, you have this. For us, for now, we are not going to run into any conclusion. For now, we are going to support the process, and we are part of the process. The advising committee meeting, we are part of it. We normally, tomorrow is another meeting. Yes, so we'll be part of it. In fact, APC is part of it. All other political parties is part of it. I don't know why they withdraw. I don't know why they are always saying things are not correct. It's because maybe things are not going their own way. He said the paper was not laid properly. In fact, I was at Bintumani on that day. I was at Bintumani. In fact, I was invited. My party was invited. Even though there was some issue, between members of parliament, wherein I think one police officer sprayed the pepper spray. After some point, he done. No, wait.
Thank you. I'm thanking you.
No, I'm not against you. Let me land. I'm supposed to land. One police officer sprayed a pepper spray. Automatically, I saw APC and SLPP beat up that police officer and then take him out. After some time, there was calm, and the maze and everything, the paper was laid. I was there. I'm not in member of parliament, but I was invited. So for Mohammed to say the paper was not laid, it is illegal, it is unconstitutional, I think you are deceiving the people, because our population these days, not everybody is educated and all those things. So sometimes, let us, young people, let us try to see something that is correct. 2015, SLP did not support the census. They did not support the census. They went to the radio, they see all sorts of things. But with our intervention, APA, we met, we dialogue, and we agree on certain things, and we all come out and say, okay, well, the census has been conducted. Now, what is the way forward? And we agree on some terms and conditions. We met with the former president, all those things. So what is the issue?
Let's try to wrap things up here.
Yes, quickly.
Now, before you finish, you are saying that they want to create 3 new districts, and that's one of the purposes of the census. That's this, according to you, illegal census that they are trying to do. If these 3 districts are created, how will it affect your party or the country?
Yes, in as much as I have plans of answering that, I don't want to lose sight of 1 or 2 things that my brother said. I am going to be brief. I am very short words in representing this particular one. I think posterity will have to judge us as we sit here if we are not realistic, if not to ourselves, but to the people that we serve out there. He said maybe things are not going our way, according to the CDP representative, the chairman for CDP. Yes, I can understand that things are going away. So even if it is against the people, you don't care. You don't want to know whether it is illegal or legal. You don't want to know.
Things are going.
You understand?
In what way things are going?
No, I know things are going his way. You understand? So that is exactly why I said let posterity don't judge us as young people, like he said. So I want to respect that. According to the census man, he said some places will be underplanned and underreported. Already you've underplanned, and we know your plans of underreporting certain places already. We know all that already, so we are just challenging you now on that. Then after that, he said maybe for the government to plan how to do this, how to do that. Since these governments come into power, the question we'll ask is what have they done? They have not done anything. And according to the cartographic machines they are going to use, they have highlighted how sophisticated they are in a country where there is no electricity. In a country where the electricity is less than 3% in terms of supply. In a country where things are becoming difficult every day. You understand? So the reason why we are against this particular census, because it's illegal. Okay. And the reason why we tell our people not to participate, because it will not be recorded. It will not be recorded into the world population analysis. Because those that are coming to validate, observers will not come to validate it because they have withdrawn their funding and their participation from it. We are part of the process, but when we see that indeed these are stubborn people, they don't heed to genuine counseling, we decided that the best we could do, we and other 12 political parties, registered political parties, will withdraw our participation.
Okay. Yeah. That time has come.
I'm doubting that.
But I'll give you 1 minute to just wrap up for us.
Okay, so my final words would be, we do not have any plans, as my brother is saying. We just want to conduct a census to correct the anomalies, and then we present it to the table. All right. All what he's talking about, we could understand his sentiments are clouded in political undertones. Everything he's saying is political.
He's a politician.
Yes, he's a politician, and I understand. I'm not a politician, so I very much understand his position on this. But we are playing with lenience. 9th of December is the census night, which is Thursday. This Thursday coming. It's important because where you sleep on the night of the 9th is where you'll be counted.
And I saw one of the cars going past saying that if you sleep in a guest house, that's where you'll be counted.
Of course, we have institutional questions. So, yes, if you sleep in a guest house,
make sure you sleep at home.
I've always been sleeping at home.
Because we have people who will sleep at guest houses, they will sleep in prisons, they sleep at police stations. So where you sleep on the night of the 9th is where you'll be counted.
Yes. Right. Okay, well, that's a word for the wise is quite sufficient. Thank you very much, gentlemen, and I hope it all goes well with your plans at Statistics Sierra Leone, and I hope the All People's Congress Party hopefully succeed in what they're trying to achieve.
But they will definitely join the process. I believe in that.
Thank you very much, guys, and thanks to you, our man from Outback. Thanks, everybody. Thanks. Goodbye.
Mm-hmm.